Good morning. Good morning. We will start now. Not here. Can you talk to him? Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to everyone in this room and also to the ones online. Welcome back to the last day of our conference. It is a pleasure to be with you. I'm Ruth Batista, for the ones that don't know me yet. How are you feeling this morning? Good? Yes? You're still taking the coffee, I know. Well, you've been very hard workers throughout these 3 days, and I would like to thank you all for that hard work. I know some of you are tired, some of you would like to stay a few more days, maybe. But I know all of you actually worked really hard and have a lot to bring home for the next weeks and months to work on. So we hope to have provided you a very fruitful program, but we actually haven't finished yet our program. And we still have a lot of nice elements for you this morning. So I hope that you still enjoy that. So let's start with the outcomes of the networking activity, which was our eTwinlandia. I hope you enjoyed being an inhabitant of eTwinlandia. I must remind you that this work is not just a work from you here in this room, but also work that was done by over 200 people online. So it was amazing work, and therefore I would like to invite us in our stage the eTwinlandia First Citizen, Professor Amália Mensana, Minister of Health and Wellbeing.
Good morning, everybody. You can hear me now? Yes. Well, as Ruth has said, you know, you worked very hard, and all those people online worked very hard. And I have a very interesting set of outcomes from all of you, which I am going to share with you now. Bear in mind that this is the start of our manifesto. So what I'm reading will be eventually put together into a concrete document which we will share with you a little bit in the future. All right? So I have 10 outputs. There were 10 community villages from our eTwinlandia. And it's very interesting because there seems to be there are certain themes emerging, like the importance of the family, the importance of digital equality, the importance of boundaries, but boundaries set with everybody concerned. So let me start by reading, first of all, community village. Community village people, anybody here? Yes. Okay, so this is the outcome of community village. Preventing digital addiction requires cooperation between parents and teachers. Set balanced boundaries and encourage offline engagement for mindful, healthier lives. Ensure equal access to technology for all students to avoid inequality in education. Empower students to stand up for their well-being and their peers' rights. Let's embrace meaningful, mindful living beyond the screen. So I think that's a powerful statement. Next, we have Intervene City. Intervene City, some of the people here. Everybody here sets personal boundaries for digital device usage, and there are apps to help. That's interesting, an app to help you use your time online. Very good. Adults act as role models by using technology safely and responsibly. Citizens cherish human connections, nature, and mental well-being by balancing digital time with real-world experiences. We promote liberty, family time, and the beauty of life beyond the screen. Act now to manage tech use for well-being. So the message being that technology is there to serve us, and let's manage it in a way that helps our lives, not interferes with them. So next we have Equality City. Equality City. We have some people from Equality City. And again, we have this message of digital inequity. By tackling digital inequity, we empower teachers and students with the right tools and support. Equal access to technology ensures all students thrive and grow. Co-teaching and teamwork help bridge the gap. Together, we build an inclusive and supportive learning space. And now we come to Mediatland. Mediatland. Very good. In Mediatland, we create opportunities for socialization within family and friends, strengthening these bonds. We emphasize the importance of digital detox and encourage nature engagement and self-reflection. Setting screen time boundaries helps maintain balance and enhances well-being. Prioritize face-to-face interactions to nurture a more fulfilling life. Everyone participates equally in building harmonious environments. So in this one, you know, technology is there, but it's not the main focus. The main focus is social interaction in a real way. Excuse me. Caring Town. Caring Town. Here, digital tools and AI connect different generations for intergenerational learning and collaboration. Children teach digital skills to the elderly, while the elderly share life knowledge. We foster meaningful interactions between children, parents, and grandparents. Our education system values both the online and offline experiences equally. Caring Town promotes learning, socialization, and mutual respect for all ages. I think this is a very important point, because so much of our lives now have moved online in terms of lots of interactions with our governments. They're all online, so people need help to be able to deal with that. Challenge City. Challenge City? Yes. Good, we have some people here. In a world of information overload, we equip students with the essential ICT skills and critical thinking from an early age. Teachers guide responsible technology use and social media habits. Time management and mobile phone awareness are core to balancing tech and life. Teachers also collaborate and set clear boundaries for digital task completion. We prioritize informed and focused learning. Very good. Respectville. Respectville? Preventing cyberbullying is a joint effort between teachers, students, and parents. Together, we promote the responsible use of technology both in and out of school. Respectville follows the 5 R's: record, reach out, report, react, and resolve. These steps empower everyone to act against online bullying. Our community is built on respect and well-being through safe digital practices. I think the 5 R's are really a very useful set of steps, and certainly we will incorporate them into our final manifesto for eTwinlandia. Caution City. Caution City. E-safety is a shared responsibility, and everyone in Caution City stays vigilant online. Students and teachers learn about internet safety and content filtering at school. We prioritize data protection and privacy in today's digital world. Through communication and trust, we build resilience and well-being. This is our penultimate one, Identityland. Identityland. Oh, quite a few people from Identityland. Open dialogue about digital safety starts early, even before children have devices. I find that very interesting. Parents and teachers and students collaborate in school events to promote e-safety. Parents lead by example with responsible social media use, and curiosity about their children's digital lives. Building healthy digital habits is crucial from a young age. In identity land, finding the balance between online and real-life identities is encouraged. And that's a very important point, that young people don't get confused about their identity as a person, more with their online persona than their real persona. So that's an important point. Determination Village, our last one, last but not least. We prioritize mental health and authenticity over the pressures of public perception. Schools play a central role in educating the whole community on responsible technology use. Technology supports life's journey without leading it. And that I like so much. Technology supports life's journey without leading it, enabling us to solve problems. Spending quality time with the family, enjoying nature, exercising, helps de-digitalize our minds. Together, we strive for a healthy, meaningful balance. So, a lot of very rich ideas there, a lot of common themes, ones that I think that we can take into eTwinlandia and build a very interesting and supportive and worthwhile manifesto that will bring us forward into what is increasingly a very digitized and technologically driven world. So thank you all for your work, for your reflection. We hope you had some enjoyment in doing this exercise, and you have produced something that we can use in the future. Thank you very much. Give yourself a round of applause.
Thank you very much. I'll take that. Well, it's always lovely to see the outcomes of these activities. I think there's no better crowd or more creative crowd than a crowd of teachers. So thank you so much for your contributions. And I hope that we also inspired you to do the same with your students and get them to reflect on these issues. Well, well-being is not just about digital well-being, and we've been focusing a lot on that. And actually, I would like to open a little bit more the discussion as from now. And to take this discussion to a more broader level and talk about nurturing well-being, fostering a healthy school environment. It was lovely to see that you also in eTwinlandia focused on identity, shared responsibilities, but let's discuss it a little bit more. Let's open up this discussion. And for this lovely moment, I have invited a beautiful panel. You will see they are beautiful. So I'd like to call on stage Ines from Belgium. Celeste, Igor, Cornelia, and Nina, please. I will introduce you in a minute. Let's give them just 1 second so they can settle. The goal of this panel is to share insights and experiences on how we can actually create nurturing environments that promote holistic well-being of students. And that's why we have this beautiful panel, very varied. I will introduce them now. Just give me a second. And Ines, here, for 20 years, she was the head of a non-profit organization that promotes European citizenship. And in that job, she coached many schools in European projects like Erasmus+, and also eTwinning projects. 5 years ago, she changed careers to support organizations in their strategic development and schools in promoting well-being at school. Thank you for accepting this invitation, Ines. Celeste is actually an associate professor with aggregation at the Department of Education, Social Sciences and Humanities in the Faculty of Human Kinetics in the University of Lisbon. And actually, she's here also on the role of a co-author of the report from the European Commission. The report is called A Systemic Whole School Approach to Mental Health and Wellbeing in Schools in the European Union. Igor, with 10 years of headship and teaching experience and leads various education and civic initiatives, including eight Erasmus Plus projects and local NGOs. He has published also several scientific articles, multiple eTwinning awards, and he was also recognized among the Croatian's top 5% educators in 2023. He's a head teacher, so it's in this role that he's coming to take part of this, to this panel. Cornelia is our teacher representative from Austria, and she has been teaching at middle school for 35 years. The main subject is English. And she's also part of the Austrian Healthy Schools program, which is a very interesting program that we'd like to hear a little bit more. She's in eTwinning since 2010, so also quite for a while. And she's participating in Erasmus projects since 2012, and she's also an Erasmus ambassador. And she's in a consortium with local school for students with special needs. Thank you, Cornelia. And last but not least, actually the most important guest is actually Nina. Nina is a 16-year-old student at the Collège Visitation La Berlière in Belgium. And she's in the 5th grade. And when I asked her how she could be presented, she actually said that she really likes learning and going to school. So thank you, Nina, for accepting this invitation. I know it might be scary to be among so many teachers, but we really want to hear your voice. And this is all about students, and you are representing their voice here today. Well, let's get this discussion started. I've already introduced myself. I'm Ruth Batista from the Central Support Service. And let's get this discussion started. So how does well-being encompass in the context of school? So what does this mean for you? What does well-being mean for you, Nina? Yes, please take that mic, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. For me, well-being at school is cooperating among students, teachers, and educational staff. It's everyone's responsibility. The school atmosphere depends on everyone's contribution, so it prevents harassment, discrimination. In our school, we focus on well-being. It's easier because we are a small college and everybody know each other and pay attention to one another. At school, we are helped by the Psychomedico-Social Local Center in case of any problems related to well-being. It can be about orientation, family problems, and any other type. They are good listeners, and I'm happy to study at my school.
That's so lovely to hear. Thank you for sharing that. It's not often that we have a student saying, I love to study in my school. It's really amazing, so thank you. Ines, would you like to also share your view?
Yeah, for me, two things are very important in terms of well-being at school. The first thing is for me very important because for me, well-being is a precondition for learning well. So if you feel well, if you feel happy, if you feel connected with other people, you will learn a lot better. And as a teacher, you will also function very well. We know from research that if students don't feel well, for example, if they are anxious, like the fear of failure, or they feel sad, or they feel depressed, that their brain is less open to learn. So that is why, for me, well-being should be at the heart of every school. Because if you feel well, you learn better. That's the first thing. And the second thing, well, Nina already said that a little bit, is for me, well-being is an individual and a collective responsibility. So everyone should be all together working on well-being. So for me, it's very important that the school creates a culture of well-being, and so that's why I'm very happy with the title of this discussion indeed, because for me well-being is all about creating a warm, a safe, and a supporting environment for students, teachers, and everyone who's involved in the school. For me, it's a little bit like a flower. A flower will flourish in a very good environment. If you don't have that good environment, a flower won't flourish. And for students and teachers, I think it's the same. You need a very good climate to flourish as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ines. Igor, as a head teacher, what does well-being encompass?
What
for
does
you?
the head think? It is a systematic and holistic approach to every single individual at school. Simply every person, pupil, teacher, staff member, when they enter the building, the school, they should feel that is a place where their needs are met, and that they can do their best, because the school's hidden curricula is we care about you, and that you succeed in your mental, psychological, physical. At first you have to feel safe. Someone is going to ask you, how do you feel today? Is everything okay? If you don't look that well. Also some academics, so someone has to learn something there. And of course social, that every person can achieve their social desires, maximum, to communicate, to collaborate, to feel welcomed in a group. So it has to be systematic, someone has to keep track of it, and it has to be holistic, so the whole person needs to be taken care in a school. So that's the head's opinion.
Thank you. I don't know, Cornelia and Celeste, would you like to add something to this question? Or?
Well, I really think that what you said, also what Nina said, and Ines said, is the most important thing. Students have to like coming to school, and that's really the thing we have to try to make for them. And I really think that everybody involved in education has the tools to make that. But you have to be aware of that. And within our school, we have, as you said before, we are in this Healthy School program where each school can apply, but then you have to adapt your school policies. We offer, just one example, we offer apples or vegetables free every day for students, for teachers. We invite experts to do some workshops on different health issues. Especially last year we had a marvelous training on mindfulness, and now we try to implement these exercises every day in every class, so people and students and teachers really get aware of, let's say, their breathing and their bodies, and how they can make maybe some small changes, but they might really affect their lives in much bigger ways.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to?
So, well-being. Well-being is the main component of mental health. And health is a resource for life and to function properly in our life context. So that is like that also in schools. If kids are not well, they are not going to learn. If teachers are not well, they are not going to teach well, and the whole school community. So well-being, it's fundamental. And schools need to be a place where children and the teachers and all the staff feel respected, recognized, they feel supported, they feel safe, they feel connected, they feel included. And so I think these are some of the main elements for being well at schools, and to learn and to play and to enjoy and to be satisfied in that context, that it's fundamental. And we have many other things, but we have more questions to
Indeed, indeed. Actually, talking about questions, we did ask you a question in the first day. I don't know if you remember, Santi asking you, what are you doing to contribute to the healthy school environment in your school? And I wanted just to read up just 5 contributions. Actually, you can go back to the slide and see it was over 100 contributions. Thank you so much for that. We selected here 5 just so you have an idea of what was answered there. So the first one, the best way to contribute to a healthy school environment is to let your students that they are valued. We heard just that. So their presence is welcomed and input, no matter what it is appreciated. Teachers' soft skills matter a lot. So this was one of the contributions, so it's very nice one, I would say. The second one is, I welcome each student, keeping in mind that all students can be educated. I am participating in actions such as the Day Against Bullying. I am implementing an eTwinning project on well-being with other European schools. So that's another way of contributing to a healthy school environment. Actually, the project is called I Feel Good in My School. It's in drafts, so if you look for it in the platform, maybe you will find it. And this person also collaborates with the school staff colleagues when this person receives information from students. So there's also collaboration with the school staff, not just with the students or with the fellow colleagues, the teachers, but also the school staff. I selected this one because I felt it was important to highlight also the role of the school staff to contribute to a healthy school environment. The third one I would like to highlight is actually this one. I organize collaborative group activities, especially through eTwinning projects, again. These activities promote teamwork, respect for diversity, and help to prevent bullying by fostering stronger peer connections. Positive relationship among students contribute to sense of belonging. Then, the fourth, I'm trying to inspire the other teachers in my preschool to network with other teachers in Europe to keep learning. Also have fun whenever possible. I think this was a nice element because, as I told you before when I was introducing Nina, her sentence was that she has fun in school, she enjoys learning. So I think also teachers sometimes do need to enjoy themselves and have fun in school whenever possible, of course. And the last but not the least, being empathic to others' feeling around me, being empathic to others' feelings around me, monitoring emotional and physical change in my students and colleagues, and being flexible about the needs they might have, being supportive. This is the last one that I would like to highlight, but many, many more could be highlighted. We just don't have the time to go through all of them. So once more, thank you for contributing. But actually taking these as a starting point, I would like to move then to our second question. Igor, let's start with you. Can you share some practical examples or some tips on how mental health and well-being could be achieved with the whole school approach?
I have a lucky example. We were lucky enough last year, or the year before that, the Croatian Ministry of Health has created a series of workshops for all kinds of educators on mental health. So I asked my teachers if they are interested. 4 of them said yes, and the school psychologist, and they went for the workshops. I think it's total something 10, 12 days, something. They got a certificate. And when they came back, they had to present what they have been doing for that time. And during the teacher meeting, someone, actually me, suggested that maybe we could have a school team for for psychological support for teachers and pupils. And they, I guess, couldn't say no. And now we have a team at school of 5 people who are well educated, professionally educated to give support, and they are divided in teachers for small kids, the primary teachers, the older kids, a school psychologist, and they are like a group, a posse of people helping around the school. So they are there to help if needed, even if the teachers need. So sometimes you get lucky, but I'm sure that even in your countries there are initiatives that do that. There are NGOs that you could ask for help to come to school or better yet, educate you as teachers to give support as much as you can, not like a psychologist, but as much as you can. And the most important thing is to see the problems that the pupils and possibly teachers have. So they need to be recognized. And then they can be worked on in collaborative ways. Another example is, if I could offer some piece of advice, so it's always good to have a document stating what is being done, when, who, why, and where, and so people can keep track of it. The document doesn't need to be made by the head, it has to be made collaboratively in your school, and that in that way people can keep track of what is being done and evaluate it in the middle, at the end, or something like that. Because if that's not done, then I guess many of you have experienced that in your schools, things tend to get tiring for the one teacher that is giving his best. As time passes, you get, yeah, we did something, and yeah, some years ago, and so it just disappears like a fog. And when you have a document, and when you have someone from your team that keeps track of things done, and when it is evaluated and you can measure the difference that you're making, that it makes a whole, then it's a different thing. It's not just an initiative, it's a project, it's a collaborative activity of the whole school. So that's my two examples of
Thank you.
how can you do things.
Thank you. I don't know, because I cannot read anyone's mind, luckily, but maybe someone is thinking, yeah, that's easy, you are the head, you are the head teacher, so when we want to do some things, it's hard because maybe we don't have the support of the head school. Cornelia, can you share some examples of how this whole school approach can work, mobilizing everyone in school? How can this be done?
I really think that the principal has a very strong role in supporting, in encouraging. And if he doesn't do that, nothing will happen, or only very small scale projects. So I really think, and I'm very happy to have a very supportive and encouraging headmaster who really lets us work, but also has ideas for the whole school. And just to give you two examples as well, one is our buddy system. We have introduced, I don't know, some 10 years ago, buddies for various tasks at school. For example, we have buddies in the library that help with borrowing and lending the books. We have buddies for sorting the waste, helping younger students there. But most important, we have buddies especially for the younger students. They get to know each other while our young ones are still in primary school before they come to our secondary school. And they are there for them when they come. They help them, they show them the school. They are just there for them. They meet them in the breaks and they really look after them and take care of them if they need. Second example, we are right now in a big Erasmus project dealing with health. It is also called Health is Wealth, together with Finland and Germany. And this year in March we went to Finland, and there the students developed weekly challenges. They found the questions they wanted to ask their mates at home, at our home schools, for example, about how much amount of time they spend on their mobile phones, how much amount of time they get to sleep. And they developed that while they were in Finland together with the mixed teams. And when we came back home, we did these surveys in every class, like all our partner schools as well did. And as we are a very small school with just 160 students, it's very easy to do everything in every class. And that's also my goal. Although only a small group of students goes somewhere, we always bring back something for the whole school. And that's really something we want to do and also do it in the future. And you mentioned our collaboration with our school for students with special needs. That's also something both schools benefit, because at our school we very often meet, they come to our schools for reading lessons. We have a lot of activities together. And we also take special needs students with us. There were 4 of them with us in Finland. Of course, it's a challenge, and it's more organization, but it's worthwhile for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Celeste, I'm sure in the report that you wrote, there's some practical examples. Would you like to share some with us?
Yes, for sure. I and Carmel Tefai and Simona Caravita, it was an authorship of three researchers and teachers. We developed a model based on the literature review of the last 10 years of what works for promoting mental health and well-being, based on a whole school approach. And we have several layers, 3 main layers on how to promote mental health and well-being on schools. The first is the classroom. The second is the whole school, and the third is the intersectoral approach. So we need to be in relation with the community, with the local authorities, with the medical centers, all the associations and organizations in the community that can help us. So the school not to be closed and on itself, and open up also to the community. And here in this whole school approach, we have the students, we have the teachers, we have the school staff, but also the parents. Parents are very important, and parents' engagement is also very important. And when we implement this whole school approach, we need to be aware that we need to base our interventions on several principles, like be based on children's rights, be inclusive, equity-driven, holistic, based on approach health and strengths approach. We need to listen to students' voice. We need to address adults' well-being, where are the teachers and the parents. So there are several layers within this model, and I will focus just one tip for the classroom and another for the community. For the classroom, due also to our experience of 30-year plus of implementing social and emotional learning programs at schools in Portugal. Some of these were collaborative initiatives of European projects. We found that implementing curriculums or programs for social emotional learning, mental health, resilience in the classroom by the teachers, and research show that teachers are more effective and the results are better when are the teachers that implement the programs compared to other professionals that come once a week and implement the program. So evidence is very clear on that aspect. But of course, teachers need education. They must have training for the implementation of these programs. And what we get from these many years of implementation, of course, we get many things. We get impact on gain on competencies, on decrease of problems, on academics, and that's a very important thing for the decision makers to bear in mind, that working on these programs and promoting mental health being will open also the doors for academic achievement. One of the last programs that we implemented in Portugal and 5 other countries in Europe, with 10,000 students and 1,000 teachers, show exactly that. We had gains on academics, motivation, engagement, and grades. When we compare students that had these programs with students that didn't have this program, because we have a control group to compare. And besides all these programs also have a significant impact, and very important, in the relation between the classmates and the relation between teacher and the students. And the relation between teacher and students is also very well researched, and there are lots of evidence that it's a key, one of the most important key features. And you were talking about satisfaction and students like to go to school. One of the studies that we have done some years ago, with data from a study, I don't know if you know, HBSC, Health Behavior in School-Age Children, is a collaborative study of the WHO, and that runs in 50 countries. Almost every European country has this study. And we saw that the satisfaction with school, it was a very important protective factor for risk behaviors in adolescents. And behind satisfaction with school, we search for the impact of the family, of the friends, classmates, and the teachers. And teachers always, because we repeated this study with different layers, different waves of this study that is conducted every 4 years, are the most important component for satisfaction, more than classmates, teachers. And what we have, the questions that we have for teachers. Teachers encourage us to express our point of views. Teachers treat us fairly. Teachers help us when we are in need. And teachers are interested in us as a person, not only as a student, as a person. And with these programs, you get to know better your students get to know better the teachers, and the relation gets better, and all other things will flow from here. I have another, but we have more questions. I don't want to take more time.
So maybe actually we can keep on with you, and then I will move on to Nina. And I would like to ask, how much effort do you think it requires to create a whole school approach to mental health and well-being that is participatory and flexible, so that everyone is included, and that everyone is included?
Yeah, so it requires time.
Mm-hmm.
It requires to change the mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
It requires resources. That's why the local community, the authorities are so important to help us here. And I will focus mainly on the mindset. I was talking with Ines before starting the session, and we were talking about some professors, some teachers that are still hesitating in starting these programs, and focus again on implementing these programs in the classrooms because they are overwhelmed. I don't know in your countries what happened with you, but for instance in Portugal, teachers are overwhelmed with the academic stuff and let the students to achieve certain knowledge, certain skills. They are overwhelmed with bureaucracy. They are overwhelmed with their own lives. And when we enter in a school and we offer a workshop with 50 hours and say that they have also a component on mental health and well-being and resilience of teachers, they say, oh, that's what we really need. Because if teachers are not well, they are not going to teach well. But there is also and still a resistance regarding some teachers. I was sharing also with Ines, one teacher that participated in one of our last programs, say, when we proposed the workshop, he said, oh, but why? Another training, the same thing, how much time I'm going to invest, for what? What will I gain? And the academics and the contents, who will deliver? And regarding this, I have a very interesting quote from a teacher that participated also in this program that said to a colleague regarding this, I don't have time. I cannot fit anything else in my teaching. And he said, well, my opinion is that he was a teacher of the 10th grade, geography 10th grade. And he said, 5 minutes that I invest in these activities is 10 minutes of geography that I gain. So it's not a lost time, it's a gain. So, because when they go to geography, They are more relaxed, they are more attentive, they are more willing to do it. And this teacher was very, very interesting. After our first session in the training, he said, I'm going to share a thing that I never share with my colleagues in the teacher's room. I was afraid to share, to think what they're going to think about this, but now with this talk and this conversation, I'm sure that this is a good thing. I feel it, but now I know that is a good thing. So I dance with my students after the classes. So he dances with the students. So 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the end. And I felt that it was a good thing, and now I know that's a good thing. And in the group, we have made this training online. It was during the pandemic. And the teacher that was there in the training was mother of one of his students. And he said, Professor, continue to do what you do. The teens, love you. My child, my son, is like peace and love. Everything is okay. Grades doesn't matter. If I do the course or the study unit, it's okay. The grades doesn't matter. But he told me, Mommy, I'm going to invest my energy and my effort to get a good grade because the professor of geography deserves it. I like him so much that I want to be the best student and have the best grade that I can. This is a testimonial of a mother around this. So again, how this good environment, this positive classroom can help and can lead to motivate the students. And now I forgot what I was saying because thoughts are going.
But that's actually a nice bridge for
okay,
Nina. And let's
sorry.
hear. Do you have any example, Nina, on this?
I think that the Belgian school system can be negative on students' well-being because of its heavy schedules, starting at 8 and ending at 4. And too many evaluations. We have 2 exam sessions every year and other important tests during the school year. This is tiring and it isn't adapted to the season, the biological clock of teenagers isn't respected. We have very little free time for other activities, sport, leisure, spending time with friends, family, and relatives. If we are a member of a school club, we have to choose either going to the training or studying, and that's not good for, for the student.
Okay. And Cornelia, how much effort do you think it requires to create this school environment?
Well, I think it starts probably in every school just with one teacher who spreads his ideas or her ideas, and then it goes on, supported by the principals, but in the end, you really need to have all your fellow teachers in the boat to make a whole school approach. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And even, like I said, or you said, also just the 5 minutes like we do with the mindfulness exercises. We had the training last year, but some teachers already have lost their enthusiasm. It was great in the beginning, but now we really have to teach ourselves the power of endurance and try to do it every day, because only then it makes a difference. And if we can, like in our Erasmus project, if we come back with something for every class, they see it's good to work with us. It's good to try and be in a team, to go abroad. And only then we can make it a good thing for the whole school.
I'm going to risk to ask a question that is not on the script to Nina. Nina, was there any situation in your school where you students actually proposed something to improve your well-being, and you struggled with it, or actually you managed? Was there something that you created? Of course, this was not on the script, so if there's no activity, that's fine, and no problem at all. But was there something that you would like to share with us that it came from you, from the student?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? But how usually it is done in your school? The teachers come up with the initiatives and they present it to you and you can vote, or you are forced into participating?
Yes, we can participate. We speak with the educational staff to change things in the school. I don't have any.
So you are actively involved in the implementation?
In each class, we have one person, one student. He come at in réunion. I don't know.
Meeting?
Yeah, a meeting. And we speak about that, our well-being and.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. So then let's move to the next question. The next question is actually more about teacher training. So do you think there is an adequate teacher education in mental health promotion, both at initial and continuous professional development levels to promote health in schools? And do you think eTwinning is contributing to this, Ines?
That's a very broad question. So I'll try to communicate my ideas as good as I can. For me, well-being is a learning process. So very often the focus is on the problem of not feeling well, of children with difficult behavior and things like that. So for me it's important that we also focus on the learning process of social emotional learning, of learning how to be resilient and things like that. So it's important that teachers are trained to support that learning process, but when you want it or not, you are a role model. So I think it's also important to be trained, to be a good role model, to support the learning process of the children. So for me, several things are important here. First of all, it's important that teachers have the competence to work on this well-being learning process in the class. For example, it's important to know how you can help your students to concentrate more. For example, once in a while you can do some brain break activities to make sure their brain is on, it's online, and they can learn well. To give you one example. It's also important that they have the competence to support the children when they don't feel well. So for example, if they perform difficult behavior, that you look underneath the behavior and you have the competence to try to find out what the child needs. Why does this child behave like that? So it's also important that you learn more about that. That's one thing. And a second thing is, if you want to support the child in this learning process, it's also important that you are supported as a teacher, as a role model as well. So behind you, you need, let's say, a supporting team. First of all, a head teacher that has a vision on well-being and that wants to support well-being at school, but also a team of experts who can help you when you don't know how to answer to a child. So I think it's a multi-layered answer. I think more should be invested in adequate teacher training in mental health promotion, because for me, mental health should be on the same level as academic subjects. For me, learning how to deal with yourself, learning about social emotional learning, it should be on the same level as academic learning, because it's a precondition to learn well, to perform well, to be resilient and things like that. So for me, that's important. And then the second question, is eTwinning contributing to this? Yes, is the answer, at least for me, because as I said before, well-being is for me a lot about making connection, creating a community, making it a collaborative effort. So eTwinning can contribute to that because you create a community, you create connection, you create a support group, you learn to see that even if you are different, if you come from a different country, you have the same issues you deal with, you have the same struggles and things like that. So that community helps you to, yeah, to feel well as well. So,
Yeah, thank you. Igor, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I don't remember having any education while I was in my college. I'm actually a teacher. I don't know about today's colleges, but I have seen some media coverage on initiatives and activities and so on. So I don't know about the teacher colleges and so on, but I wanted to say, I was thinking about it, that a general feeling is that, at least I think, that sometimes the whole community thinks that that our schools are like a panacea, like a universal cure for every problem in the society. So I would like to state that it's not. However, there are good initiatives like eTwinning and the struggle to cope with well-being and so on that can be used. And teachers, yes, teachers need training, and in my experience, they enjoy training on well-being, on psychological topics, on mindfulness, and so on, and they express their satisfaction after those kinds of workshops. Sometimes we have it like an expert coming to the school, sometimes it's peer learning, someone who has done some research or been to a course or something like that teaches others. So there are good examples of training and education among teachers and in schools.
Okay, thank you. Cornelia, how about you as a teacher?
Same
Do you
for me.
think
As
there's
a teacher,
enough?
I didn't hear anything about well-being while I was training, and also, and this is something I really don't understand, students nowadays, I can only talk about Austria, I don't know about the other countries. My daughter is in her second year of teaching right now, and she hasn't heard a word about well-being. They are doing so many papers, only academic stuff, and they even don't go out into schools to practice a lot. It's really much too less for them, and they really don't know what teaching should be like. I know I'm quite old, and I also learned a lot of things I do now while I grew up as a teacher, but I really think that everybody nowadays knows how important well-being is, and especially as a teacher. And if the students nowadays don't hear about it, they don't know how to cope with their students. That's what I can see, and that's something my daughter tells me. Well, she hears something I tell her, but that's not enough, and it shouldn't be my job to teach her that. That's why she goes to university.
Well, and do you think being in eTwinning for quite a while now, 10 years, almost 14 years now, is eTwinning contributing to your professional development on well-being, or?
Of course it is, because you can always compare and contrast things you learn from other schools, from other teachers, with your own opinions, your own school policies, and then also adapt their ideas into your own ideas of how to make school a nice place for everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Of course, of course.
Yeah, just about this initial, and you were saying that you don't have, when you had this initial training, still we continue in many places we don't have, and even students don't realize the importance of that. I'm going to just give an example. I'm coordinating an Erasmus Mundus program, master. It's a European joint master, Erasmus Mundus, on resilience in educational contexts. And we have now the students in Portugal. They are from 16 different countries: Bangladesh, Australia, Indonesia, Pakistan, Colombia, United States, so all over the world. And we have plus the other Erasmus students that are doing other study units there. And I show them a video to discuss on all the events that the students have in their own lives and how this could impact their behavior. And they were discussing, one of the groups said, well, we are discussing here, why do we need to know this? Why this is important? that will be a burden to the teachers. We are there to teach. And our question could be, we are there to teach or we are there to help students to learn? Because it's different things. I can teach, but then students cannot learn because they are not available, because they are not the emotional stability to do that. So that's the thing that we need also to go through, to shift this mindset and broaden this field of education, not only in academics, but also on these, and teachers need to be aware about emotional, social development, how to address bullying, how to address other disruptive behaviors, work collaboratively with the parents, with the colleagues, with the professionals, know how to implement these programs, to learn and to read red flags in their students, and to know also how to take care about their own well-being and to grow socially and emotionally as well.
Thank you. Well, now I have a question. Not a question, well, a request for you. I would like to ask you, and also our online audience, tell us one thing that you heard during these 3 days and that you are actually planning to implement in your school next week, next Monday, whenever you go back to school. You can scan the QR code or just use the code that is on the slide, and we will share the results in a minute, okay? So please, I think you know how to multitask, so I'm sure you are able to actually answer this and then listen to our last question. We will have questions at the end, okay? So let's move then for the last question. I hope you have scanned it. So the last question that we have here today for our panelists is about the role of families and the community in nurturing this school environment, healthy school environment. And I would like to start with Ines. And Ines, what is the importance of involving the families in promoting students' well-being? And do you know any effective approaches of collaboration between schools, families, and communities? Although eTwinning also can include and should include the communities and the families, but do you know what is this importance? Let's start with the first question.
Yeah. In Africa, they say it takes a village to raise a child. So I think this answers it all. I think you work on the development of the child. So it would be strange not to involve families and communities in this story. One thing we often forget is that we are social creatures. So our body, how we are built, we are wired for connections. So I think we know from research that you feel well when you feel connected. And the more connection we can create, the better someone can feel in its skin. So for me, it's really important to involve families in the learning process of their child, but also the communities. And I think the Minister of Health just explained some good examples of how you can do that concrete. For example, we in Belgium, we just have a new Flemish government, I heard this morning, and they decided that smartphones are forbidden in primary education from now on. So children until 12 years old, they cannot bring their smartphone anymore at school. So one of the examples in the manifesto was that parents should be a role model in healthy digital health. So I think there are many subjects where you can cooperate with the parents to be a role model in creating more well-being for the child. So I think it's important to look where can we ask the question to play, the parent to play a role in that learning process as well.
Yeah. Well, I would like Nina to be the last one to answer to this question. So I don't know if any of you would like to answer. Cornelia? Yeah?
I think that the more you show the parents what you do at school, the better. The more often you invite them to come to join activities, to go, invite them to come to an outing, also to show everything we do on our school's homepage. That's, I think, one of the most important things. You have to tell them what you do, so they know how their kids get treated at school. And I also think that very often they are happy if we tell them, like we are in the Healthy Schools program, I said before, and we ask our students not to bring soft drinks, and they can say, you're not allowed to have soft drinks. So very often their decisions become easier because we tell them that's what we want to have or not.
Thank you, Cornelia.
And just one sentence, very often we are very happy to have our parents, because when we have these mobilities, we often need them as host families. And the better the connection we have with our parents, the easier it is to find these families and to let them have a great experience.
As a parent, I must say that building trust with the teachers is very, very important. Indeed. Celeste, yes.
Just to short things, in this involving and engaging families, through these programs, parents need also to be engaged, and for instance, in many programs there are also a guide for parents, and bridging parents with the schools through students is also very interesting, because students take a homework to do at home with the parents, where they discuss the competencies and they have opportunities to train. And just for bridging all together schools, families and communities and students, for instance, some reunions outside the school. For instance, an interesting activity, go for a morning walk, the staff, the teachers, the students as parents, in the nature, and then ending with a barbecue for lunch. That's a thing that join people together without school setting, out of school setting, and make like this relationship, the connections, the engagement, that is again an open door for other things.
Thank you, Celeste. Igor, were you...
Just shortly, parents and communities, invite them to positive events at your school, show them what you do, and they'll be more receptive for anything else that you do. So you choose the venue, you choose the event, invite them, and the collaboration will surely be more successful.
Thank you, Igor. Nina.
For me, families should be more involved in school social life to prevent harassment and at least stop it. A way to emphasize it is to oblige parents to go to parents' meeting, but of course they have to be more discreet about school working life, because they can put too much pressure on us, the students, to have better results.
Thank you, Nina. I know it took a lot of courage for you to be here with us today. Thank you so much. So to finalize our panel discussion, I would like to show the results of our Slido. I don't know if there's that possibility. Colleagues in the back, yes, wonderful. So breathing exercises at the start of classes. Say hello and good morning, yes, that's a good start. Sing together. More fun activities, stories that move. I guess this was from the workshop in this morning. Work on environmental projects, be happy. Can you scroll up? Thank you. Positive feedback to teachers and students. I'll be announcing and registering students for a new eTwinning project. Okay, good to know. Remember to ask my colleagues and myself how they are feeling before start working. Wonderful. Try hard to make my school an eco school. Daily routine, short relaxation and breathing exercises. That's lovely. Thank you so much. Having more time to pay attention to students' emotions. There's a lot of breathing exercises. Was there a workshop about this? Dancing with my students the 2 last minutes of the lesson. Well, I hope that students like dancing. Okay, wonderful. Staff meeting bingo. That could be a nice one as well. More group work, excitement, engage parents. Okay, wonderful. That's very good, but now you committed to something. So please implement something next week in your school. To close this session, I would like to ask the panelists, again, something that was not on the script. Just one recommendation for our teachers that are listening to us. Not just these ones, but also the ones that are online. One recommendation. If you would like to be the last one to think a little bit, that would be fine. Nina, or would you like to be the first? Okay, good. Let's start with Ines. Let's start here.
Well, I think the sweatshirt of Nina says it all. It has the heart, and I think that's what it's all about. It's all about well-being. For me is about relationships, teachers, students together, teachers together, teachers and parents, teachers and communities, etc., etc. So relationships, connection.
Thank you.
So following on Ines' tip, be attentive and listen to your students. Trying to be attentive, to listen to the small signs that sometimes they show and we are not aware or we interpret in another way. Chinese have a very nice saying that 2/3 of what we see is behind our eyes. So in fact, it's our beliefs that drive our interpretation of the reality, and sometimes we are not so correct about that, so rethink about that. So be attentive, pay attention, and listen to your students, even non-verbal messages.
Thank you.
Stay safe, sane, stay well, and keep on teaching.
Thank you, Igor.
Well, I would say take care of yourself. Listen to your own body before you start listening and working with your students. And that's it, hopefully.
Wonderful. Thank you. Nina.
Okay. I think that teachers have to talk more with the students of their feeling.
About the feelings, yes?
And that's all.
Talk more to your students about their feelings. Thank you. That's a wonderful recommendation for the teachers. Thank you so much. I would like to ask you a big applause for all of them, please. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to invite you off stage, and so we can continue with our program. And while they go out of our stage, I would like to tell you that actually, first of all, we would like to thank you, of course, once more for your commitment during the conference, for your participation, engagement in all activities. And we have actually prepared a surprise, I hope a nice one, for you that we would like to share now. I know where the dance comes from. Well, as our last session, I would like to call on stage Ulrika Soros from the European Commission to give us the closing words. This is the clicker and the mic.
So, yeah, it's a very emotional moment. We spoke a lot about emotions, so I'm sharing also my excitement and happiness to be with here as I'm leading the program from the side of DG Education and Culture. It's of course a highlight of the year to be with you these 3 days here in person. And these are really 3 days in which you left your daily routines. You met eTwinners from across Europe and beyond. You made new friends, I hope. You listened, you shared your questions, you discussed, you learned new things. You celebrated remarkable projects, and I saw in the comments of what you will start on Monday that you're already in the starting block for new projects, so that's really wonderful to witness. And maybe just some figures. You were here on site with 150 eTwinners from 40 countries. We would have loved to have also our eTwinning participant from Lebanon with us, but unfortunately she couldn't leave the country due to the military confrontation. So I hope you could follow online. I saw some eTwinners from that country following online, and I am happy about this. So we also, of course, have to mention the online participants. There were over 400 in the course of these 3 days following and actually interacting online with a very vivid chat. So thanks for staying with us. I think they deserve a big applause because online well-being, yeah. So I'm not only closing this conference, I'm also looking back to a year of eTwinning, well-being at school as the eTwinning annual theme. And I'm actually saying looking back because closing really is the wrong word for this topic, as we all learned and witnessed and shared. It's not a topic that you can actually close, but it is more important than ever to continue working on this. And I really hope that we encouraged you and equipped you even further to put well-being at school in the center of what you continue to be doing in the next days, a month, and your work in teaching. I think, if we look back of the 3 days, what was actually at the center of the discussion, we started with a very thought-provoking keynote speech about a currently very debated topic, the banning or not of the smartphones in school. I really think throughout the days we saw that there's some nuance needed to well-being, that in the digital sphere, digital does not equal smartphones, it doesn't equal social media, and it's not only about how many hours or technical restrictions that we impose on the students, but also actually that we empower them on what they do during their when they use their devices and how they use them. And this was very much at the center also of the panel yesterday, where we really shed light on how to help students to be conscious about how they use the digital environment. So we saw, for example, or we heard the endeavors of the Better Internet for Kids strategy to create safe internet environments for minors as one of the prerequisites. Then one panelist stressed the importance of media literacy and really highlighting practical tools on spotting disinformation. That's something that is really also at the core of our work in the European Commission. We have even published guidelines that you could see outside on the table, but you find them also online, guidelines for teachers and educators on spotting, tackling disinformation and promoting digital literacy. I think in the workshops and in the panels it was also stressed how important it is to be comfortable to leading difficult discussions, to go for a question-led approach, forget the teacher as the knowing everything and knowing better, but really be curious, start from scratch, understand what your students, where they come from actually, and just put this curiosity and the relationship in the center of your teaching practice. They were very practical examples just now on mental health and well-being at the center of the school, a psychosocial support team, collaborative document, buddies for pupils, a walk in nature, and I hope you will be able to enjoy the sunshine that finally came out in Brussels to put this into practice, maybe just right after this conference. So really the importance of collaboration, inclusion, and diversity, and that's something just to say also what is very important is that this whole school approach and whole system approach is something that we put also in the center of the European Commission policies on well-being. So you see on this slide actually that just in May this year there were new guidelines for policymakers, education policymakers, but specifically also for school leaders, teachers and educators that were published and that you find online. This actually followed a whole year of work of an expert group that came together, and it followed up on a political commitment at the level of the Council of the Education Ministers that in 2022 really made a statement in the Council recommendation on pathways to school success, where they said what you also here already knew from your classroom practice, that there's no learning without well-being. So that really school success is inherently linked with well-being, and I think this is a very key and core message that has also be reconfirmed at the very political level. So these guidelines come with a series of inspiring fact sheets for schools that you find also on our platform and online, and this whole system, whole school approach, you see here a very nice visual actually that puts the different elements of this whole school approach in one circle. Every one of them is actually is important to have well-being and mental health at the core of the school center. And I think for you as a eTwinner, it's something you already inherently do. I mean, it's basically part of every eTwinning project. You put pupils' voices in the center, student agency, you create a positive classroom climate, you work with the local community, and I was very happy to look at the book that was published just 2 days ago. All of you that are here, you find a copy in your bag, and online you can find it on the Europa catalog. It really contains a wealth of very, very practical projects from eTwinning, some of them putting, for example, emotions in the center with younger students. You can use arts, you can use dance, not only with students as we saw, but it's something that we all benefit from. Music, but it also contains a lot of examples that go into how empowering students by contributing to the communities creates this sense of positive school climate. So for example, starting with the school garden, or there were examples of urban planning that I found very nice, where students were involved in urban planning or in other community services, and that creates really a profound sense of belonging and this positive school climate. And I think eTwinning is full of these good examples, not only in the book, but also in the conversations. I heard lots of these very good examples. And if you think back of the winners panel, there are just 2 quotes that I found exemplify also this approach. So there were one of the winners was saying, it's really nice to see how some online projects lead to real encounters between pupils and long-lasting friendships. So eTwinning leads to these meaningful connections and to enthusiastic pupils. So one other winner said, Twinner and winner, stories from projects where the pupils were so enthusiastic that they didn't want to stop with a certain activity, or were asking when the next eTwinning activity would come. I mean, this is what school should be about, no? It's really what we all would have loved to see as students, and you experience this with your own pupils. So closing the conference, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone who made this conference possible. It's of course our speakers, keynote speakers, panelists, the workshop leaders. I couldn't attend all of them, as unfortunately they're in parallel, but the ones I attended, I really felt this richness of connection and exchange. The supportive partners of the European School Education Platform, big thank you, because you brought in your knowledge and expertise as panelists and workshop leaders. The prize winners, of course, thank you very much for coming all the way to Brussels. Thanks to those that are here and those who follow online for sharing your project. You get a prize, but you give a lot back to the community. Thanks really very warm-heartedly for this. The national support organizations that I think most of them follow online, thanks a lot for having made possible the support to the participants to participate in the conference. And of course, the Central Support Service, a very warm thank you for this very smooth organization of the conference, not only the content, but also all the technicalities, a lot of people behind the scenes that I think, and the moderators, of course, a very, very warm applause there for the organizers. Thank you. And of course, you the eTwinners, the new and the experienced ones that are at the core of this community. And yeah, you built eTwinlandia here, and I think you will help building it outside in the classrooms and in your communities as well. Thanks so much. And just one final task remains for me, that is looking forward. As announced by the Commissioner, we have the new annual theme for this current school year. It's citizenship education, celebrating what unites us. And it's a perfect, I think, being well is the perfect foundation for tackling issues linked to citizenship education. It's actually inherently interwoven as well. It's about tackling these challenging times. We were dealing with the rise of populism, with increasingly polarized societies, and this is where citizenship education, active participation in our societies, putting EU values, discussing how to put them into practice, human dignity, freedom, democracy, for example, and critical thinking. All this is something that contributes to this annual theme, and I invite you to pay particular attention to this theme. I think many of these principles I just mentioned are already present in past eTwinning projects, but it's the topic for the whole year. You'll find a series of inspiring more resources. We have webinars in the pipeline, professional development workshops on the European School Education Platform, where we will also highlight, of course, eTwinning projects contributing to this theme. And maybe last but not least, I hope to see a lot of you back at the eTwinning conference on citizenship education, which will take place in 1 year from now. And have a good school year, a safe trip home, and hope to see you soon again. Thank you.